What's up, Broncos Country? Man, you're not going to believe what I'm about to tell you. The Denver Broncos are at the top of the AFC with a 14-3 record, and absolutely nobody expected this. But there's a secret that nobody's talking about. A guy who has been the ice-cold heart of this team in every decisive moment of this historic 2025 Broncos season, Will Lutz. That name is going to be on every fan's lips when we hoist the Vince Lombardi Trophy. In this exclusive video, I'm going to show you exactly how this kicker transformed the Denver Broncos into the most clutch team in the NFL, the behind-the-scenes stories you didn't see on ESPN, and the exact moment when everything changed at Mile High. Stick with me until the end, because there's a revelation about Sean Payton that's going to blow your mind. Let me tell you something. When the season started, everyone thought the Denver Broncos were going to be more of the same. You remember that dark era with Russell Wilson? Man, it was a nightmare that lasted almost 3 years. Broncos Nation was desperate, frustrated to the bone. We watched other AFC West teams dominating, and there we were, spinning our wheels, burning money on bad contracts, and watching Mile High Stadium become a national joke. But something changed in 2025. It wasn't just the arrival of Bo Nix. It wasn't just the dominant defense led by Pat Surtain II, or the offensive line finally working with Quinn Meinerz and Garrett Bowles. No, my friend, the hidden secret that transformed this Denver Broncos into the most feared team in the AFC is only 5'11" tall and weighs 184 pounds. Will Lutz. But wait, a kicker? You're kidding me, right? No, man, I'm not. And when you understand what Will Lutz did this Broncos season, you'll realize why this team is different from anything we've seen in the last decade in Denver. The numbers don't lie. Will Lutz is on a historic streak of 99 consecutive extra points. 99. That's not luck. That's surgical precision under the most intense pressure that exists in professional sports. While other NFL kickers tremble in decisive moments, Lutz seems to be taking a stroll through Washington Park on a Sunday morning. The 2025 Denver Broncos season started with everyone doubting. ESPN analysts said we'd be lucky if we got to 8-9. The Chiefs were going to dominate again. The Chargers with Justin Herbert were ready to explode. Even the Raiders seemed like a bigger threat than us. But you know what happened? We started 1-2, 2 field goals at the end of the game, 2 field goals that hit the upright or were blocked against the Colts and the Chargers. Broncos Country was in panic mode. Here we go again, everyone thought. Another lost season, another year of mediocrity at Mile High. But then came the turnaround, and Will Lutz was the catalyst. Week 4 against the Bengals. Tight game, defense locked down, Bo Nix still finding his rhythm in the NFL. The score? 2017 for Cincinnati with 47 seconds left. The ball was at the Bengals' 40-yard line. It was a 57-yard field goal with a crosswind at Empower Field at Mile High. Denver's altitude helps, but it's no guarantee. I've seen Jason Elam and Matt Prater work miracles there, but I've also seen dozens of kickers miss much easier kicks. Will Lutz walked onto the field. You could feel the tension. 77,000 people holding their breath, and then, boom! The ball sailed through the uprights like an arrow, 2020, overtime, and the Broncos won 27-20. That moment changed everything. From that day on, Lutz told me in the exclusive interview you're going to see, the locker room changed, confidence skyrocketed. Everyone started believing we could win any game, no matter the score. And he wasn't exaggerating. From week 4 on, the Denver Broncos went on an 11-game winning streak. 11. Can you believe that? The team that started 1-2 suddenly looked invincible. Bo Nix started playing like a veteran quarterback. The defense under Vance Joseph became suffocating. And Will Lutz? Man, he became the most reliable closer in the league. But the really decisive moment was still to come. And it was against our biggest rival. Week 11, Kansas City Chiefs, Arrowhead Stadium. If you're a Broncos fan, you know this place has been our nightmare for years. Patrick Mahomes has destroyed us countless times. We hadn't won there since 2015. 2015, man. 10 years of humiliation. 10 years of watching that annoying quarterback work magic after magic against our defense. But this 2025 Broncos season was different. We had something special. You could feel it in the streets of Denver, at Cherry Cricket, at Avanti, in Reno, everywhere. Broncos Nation was starting to believe again. And then came that game. The Chiefs played hard. Mahomes was Mahomes. But our defense, led by Nick Bonito and Jonathan Cooper, was relentless. 6 sacks. 6. Mahomes was seeing orange ghosts all game long. Pat Certain, too, was on another level, locking down any receiver that Travis Kelce tried to connect with. But the game was tied. 20-20, 3 minutes left. And then Bo Nix did what he does best. Led the decisive drive. 8 plays, 45 yards, burning the clock. With 8 seconds on the clock, the Broncos called timeout. Chiefs 25-yard line, 42-yard field goal. Will Lutz walked onto the field. And here's what nobody knew. Exactly 1 year earlier, in the same situation, at the same 25-yard line, the Broncos attempted a 35-yard field goal that was blocked. It was one of the most painful losses of the 2024 season. Will Lutz remembered. You could see it on his face when he stepped onto the grass. He looked down at the 25-yard line, swallowed hard. The cameras captured that moment. It was visceral. It was real. It was everything the NFL is about. Redemption. I looked down and saw the exact same spot, Lutz told me. Oh my God, I thought. It's déjà vu, but this time it was going to be different. Jeremy Crawshaw, the Broncos holder, placed the ball in position. Mitch Fraboni made the perfect snap. And Will Lutz, man, he crushed that ball. The trajectory was perfect. Direction perfect. Distance perfect. 23-20 Denver Broncos. Arrowhead Stadium went silent. Silent. Have you ever seen 76,000 people go mute at the same time? It's surreal. It's like the universe stopped for 3 seconds, and then Broncos Nation exploded. Players rushed onto the field. Sean Payton raised his arms. Vance Joseph was screaming. And Will Lutz? He simply walked to the bench, calm, as if he had just made a practice kick on a Tuesday. They're all special, Lutz said about his game-winning field goals. But that one against the Chiefs, with that history from last year, with the rivalry, with everything on the line, yeah, that one was special. And it wasn't just special. It was transformational. That victory gave us command of the AFC West. It gave us confidence. It gave us the identity we were looking for, a clutch team, a team that doesn't quit, a team that has nerves of steel when everything is on the line. ESPN analysts started taking us seriously. Colin Cowherd completely changed his tune. Pat McAfee couldn't stop talking about the Broncos' defense. And Will Lutz? Suddenly he was everywhere, being interviewed, being recognized as one of the best clutch kickers in Broncos history. But the season wasn't over yet, and the decisive moments would keep coming. Wait a second, are you enjoying this story? Because there's much more. I'm going to show you the behind the scenes of what Will Lutz does before each field goal, the secret ritual he has with Jeremy Crawshaw, and the bombshell revelation about how Sean Payton built this team specifically for tight games. But before that, subscribe to the channel and leave a like, because this is the kind of exclusive content you won't find anywhere else. Now answer me. Do you believe the Denver Broncos can win the Super Bowl this year? Comment below. I want to know your honest opinion. Okay, now let's dive deep into what makes Will Lutz so special. Because it's not just about making field goals, my friend. It's about how he makes field goals. It's about the preparation, the mindset, the process. Will Lutz kicks only 40 field goals per week in practice. 40. You expected 100, 150, right? But no, he's strategic, smart. He understands that at 31 years old, with 10 years of experience in the NFL, he doesn't need to prove anything in practice. What he needs is to get to Sunday with a fresh body and a sharp mind. The most important thing when you get to my level of experience is making sure your body is right and everything is synchronized properly on game day, Lutz explained to me. And this is crucial to understanding the 2025 Denver Broncos. Sean Payton, that crazy genius we have as a coach, built an entire team around the philosophy of preservation and peak performance. He doesn't want his players to be 100% on Tuesday practice. He wants them to be 100% on Sunday when the lights come on and 70,000 people are screaming. This is one of the reasons why the Broncos have been so dominant in tight games. While other teams are tired, worn down, we're fresh. And when you have a kicker like Will Lutz, who understands the importance of managing his workload, you have a secret weapon in decisive moments. But there's more. Much more. The relationship between Will Lutz and Jeremy Crawshaw is almost telepathic. They spend the entire day together. Literally. Breakfast, practice, film sessions, lunch, more practice, dinner. They're inseparable. And this isn't by accident. The three of us are very close, Lutz said, referring to him, Crawshaw, and Fraboni. And our relationship kind of shows through in the performance. It's hard to be a successful unit when there's no mutual trust. You know what the ideal time is between the snap and the kick to not get blocked in the NFL? Between 1.27 and 1.31 seconds. That's it. Less than a second and a half. And the Broncos are always in that window. Always. That's military-level coordination. And there's another fascinating detail. Will Lutz doesn't have superstitions. None. While other players have elaborate rituals, Lutz simply runs onto the field when the coach calls for the field goal. No drama, no show. Pure efficiency. When they call for a field goal, we just run onto the field. No superstitions, he said. It's little things like that, but it happens very fast when the coach calls for the field goal. In 15 seconds, it's over. And you know what that says about this guy's character? He's an absolute professional. He doesn't need mental crutches. He trusts the process, trusts the preparation, trusts the teammates around him. Now, about that 57-yard field goal in London against the Jaguars. Man, you need to understand the context. First, it's not easy to kick in Premier League stadiums. The wind is unpredictable. The ball doesn't fly the same way. Weather conditions in England are always tricky. But Lutz, who grew up playing soccer and could have been a professional MLS player, felt at home. It was an important kick and another tight game, Lutz reflected. It was more of a defensive battle, and it felt as important as any of the game winners this year. And he was right. That 57-yard kick gave the Broncos a crucial 20-17 victory against a Jaguars team that was fighting for playoff position. It was Week 8 in the middle of the 11-game winning streak. It was another clutch moment in a season full of them. But here's the million-dollar question. What makes Will Lutz so consistent? The answer lies in the sports science that the Denver Broncos have implemented. The strength and conditioning staff, led by cutting-edge specialists, monitors everything. The symmetry between Lutz's right and left leg, range of motion, strength, flexibility. They measure millimetric differences and make constant adjustments. We have a really good sports science department here, Lutz praised. We do a lot of symmetrical exercises like measuring the difference between my left leg and right leg just to make sure everything is working the same way. And this attention to detail extends throughout the team. That's why the Broncos have had fewer injuries than most NFL teams. That's why players like Bo Nix, Cortland Sutton, and Pat Certain too can perform at a high level week after week. That's why this franchise, which was broken 3 years ago, is now the number one in the AFC. Sean Payton brought this culture of excellence. Vance Joseph implemented a defensive system that suffocates opponents. And players like Will Lutz, who understand the importance of meticulous preparation, make the magic happen in the moments that matter. But there's one last thing I need to tell you, and it's about the playoffs. The Denver Broncos finished the 2025 regular season with a 14-3 record, 14 wins. We tied the franchise record set by the legendary 1998 Broncos, the team that won the second consecutive Super Bowl with John Elway, Terrell Davis, and that brutal defense. But this team is different. This team is built for the playoffs. Why? Because playoff games are always decided in the details. They're always tight games, defensive, brutal, and the Broncos dominated tight games in 2025 like no other NFL team. 11 wins by one possession or less. 11. That's not luck. That's DNA. And at the center of that DNA is Will Lutz. If you took 100 random people off the street and lined them up for a 33-yard kick, I told him, 99 of them would miss. And yet you've made 99 extra points from that distance in a row. Lutz smiled. He knows the numbers are absurd. He knows he's making history. But he also knows he still has work to do. The Broncos received the first-round bye as the number 1 seed in the AFC. That means we'll play at home at Mile High with that damn altitude that makes the game impossible for opposing teams, especially in the January cold. We'll face the lowest-seeded wild-card team that survives the first round. And if we keep winning, Super Bowl 60 in Santa Clara, California. Hopefully we can give them something to celebrate, Lutz said about Broncos Nation. And man, we will, because this team has everything. A defense that's among the top 3 in the NFL, led by Nick Bonito, who could break the franchise sack record, Pat Surtain, II, Defensive Player of the Year candidate, and Vance Joseph, who could be poached to be a head coach of another team, an explosive offense with Bo Nix showing incredible maturity, Cortland Sutton making impossible catches, and a running game with Jaleel McLaughlin and R.J. Harvey that's starting to catch fire. But above all, we have a special teams unit led by Will Lutz that doesn't flinch. That doesn't fail. That's ready for the most intense moments in football. Most playoff games are being decided by a single possession, I reflected to Lutz. So when you see Will Lutz getting ready for the game-winning kick, you don't need to worry because he's different. And it's not just talk. The numbers prove it. Since arriving at the Broncos in 2024, Will Lutz has an 89.7% field goal percentage. Among the 20 most active kickers in the NFL, he's in the top 5. But it's not just the percentage, it's when he makes them. It's in the moments that matter. Against the Colts, he hit the game-winning field goal. Against the Chiefs, he hit the game-winning field goal. Against the Raiders, he hit the game-winning field goal. Against the Chargers, he hit multiple crucial field goals. He's clutch personified. And you want to know what the most difficult stadium in the NFL to kick in is? According to Lutz, it's the AFC North, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Baltimore. Buffalo, insane winds, snow, below-zero temperatures. But you know what's cool? If we make it to the AFC Championship game, we'll play at home at Mile High with our altitude, our weather, our crowd. Total advantage for us. At least when you get to Chicago, the wind breaks, Lutz explained about difficult stadiums. But when we're on the practice fields, especially when the wind is strong, those are some of the hardest conditions to kick in. And he's ready. The Broncos are ready. Broncos Country is ready. Let me ask you a question. Did you really believe the Denver Broncos would be the number 1 team in the AFC in 2025? Be honest. In August, when the season started, did you think we'd be here with 14 wins, dominating the conference, with a rookie quarterback playing like a veteran, a top 3 defense in the league, and a kicker who doesn't miss? Probably not, and that's okay. Nobody believed. Nobody thought we had what it took. Analysts put us as the 4th best team in our own division. They said Bo Nix was a project, that our defense was good but not elite, that Sean Payton was overrated. But they were wrong. Completely wrong. And Will Lutz is the perfect proof of why they were wrong. Because football isn't just about raw talent. It's about execution. It's about consistency. It's about showing up in the moments that matter. And delivering. Will Lutz delivered, week after week, game after game, moment after moment. 99 consecutive extra points, game-winning field goals at Arrowhead, 57-yard kicks in London, ice in his veins when the entire weight of Broncos Nation is on his shoulders. And he did it all with humility, no arrogance, no drama, just hard work, meticulous preparation, and unwavering confidence in the process. This Denver Broncos team is absolutely different, I said at the beginning of this video. And now you understand why. It's not just one player, it's a culture. It's Sean Payton building a resilient team. It's Vance Joseph creating a suffocating defensive scheme. It's Bo Nix maturing faster than any rookie quarterback in years. It's veterans like Cortland Sutton and Garrett Bowles leading by example. And at the center of it all, in the eye of the hurricane, is a 5'11" kicker named Will Lutz, who simply doesn't fail when the game is on the line. The playoffs are coming. And I guarantee you, when we get to that decisive moment in the AFC Championship game, when the score is tied, when there are 5 seconds left on the clock, and Will Lutz is getting ready for the most important kick of his career, you're going to remember this video. You're going to remember everything he did to get here, and you're going to believe, because the ball doesn't lie, and this Denver Broncos team isn't luck. It's destiny. Before you go, I need you to do something. First, subscribe to the channel right now. We're going to cover every playoff game with exclusive analysis, interviews with sources inside the Broncos locker room, and content you won't find anywhere else. Second, comment below. What was Will Lutz's most clutch moment in your opinion? The field goal against the Chiefs? The 57-yarder in London? Or is there another one I didn't mention? And third, share this video with every Broncos fan you know. Because this is our season. This is our story. And we're going to live every second of it together. The Denver Broncos are the #1 team in the AFC. Will Lutz is the most clutch kicker in the NFL. And Super Bowl 60, man, it's waiting for us in Santa Clara. Broncos Country, let's ride. And this time, we're not stopping until we hoist that Vince Lombardi trophy. See you in the next video. And get ready, because the playoffs are going to be epic.